how do you find good people? How do you hire good people? Or I'll post when I invite new members to the group, I'll say, what's your biggest challenge in business today? And they'll say, finding and keeping the right people. So kind of talk about as far as your structure, I know you guys are very intentional about going through all the things that you need to go through for annual planning.
Yep.
But how do you do hiring? What has
Yep.
worked for you guys and what has not worked for you guys?
Yep. Yeah. So what we're doing is we have an ad. We use ZipRecruiter as the platform. And I think that just compared to maybe Monster or Indeed or Facebook or whatever, we feel like the value of folks that are on there. Maybe it's, I don't know if it's a socioeconomic group or whatever, if different websites market themselves or kind of get picked up by different crowds and the kind of what's the average you see of folks using that site and that platform to find jobs. We feel like ZipRecruiter works well for us. But then it's a very intentional funnel. So when they apply on ZipRecruiter, there's then another site that we direct them to as a part of our recruiting funnel. There's some videos there, a personality test, a phone screen, and then a face-to-face after that, if everything else is still falling into place. And that's some more insight into that with some of our masterminds and stuff without saying necessarily like too much about it. But yeah, it's the key is that not necessarily what the specifics of it are, but that it's a funnel. I think that's the key thing is that it's not every single person that applies on whatever site you're using. But if they haven't taken those extra 2 or 3 steps that tell them about the job, by the time they watch those videos, a number of those objections have already been dealt with, right? It's a 1099. We don't have a lot of benefits to offer you. You got to use your own vehicle, and we have options past that. Like we have a truck program and things like that. But initially, right, you're driving your own vehicle. But we talk through all that. You got to knock doors. You got to do, And so if they still proceed to sign up with the phone screen and want to talk to somebody, at that point, they already know a good bit about the job. And so that filters out a lot of time that we're not having to waste on people that just saw an ad that said, hey, you can make $90,000 to $100,000 a year selling roofs, because every Yahoo that, that thinks they can do it is going to apply to that, right? Because that's a lot of money and you can make that kind of money. But there's some catches, right? It's 1099. You got to have your own vehicle. You got to knock doors. You're going to be outside. You can't be afraid of heights, whatever the case may be. And so, yeah, I think that's the key is having that funnel there is huge for hiring with us. And then obviously once you get them in, again, if you don't have the training and the systems and the processes to back that up and to make them want to stay, and if your corporate culture doesn't make them want to stay, well, then it's not so much an attraction but retention problem, right? I mean, that you start, was it not the right person, or did you not have the right stuff in place to retain a guy that could have been a killer? Is it them or is it you? And if you're constantly having a problem, I mean, it's just like a dating relationship, right? If you're always the one that's having relationship problems and everybody else around you is getting hitched, maybe it's you instead of them. And so if you just can't retain people, rather than thinking that the 50 people that came through your office in the past year were not a good fit, maybe you got some stuff to work on.